As we discussed in the daily financial news this morning, we got Case-Shiller data, which was up. We got FHA data, which was up, and we got new home sales data, which was up almost 10%, much higher than expected. That led to me to have a conversation with Omar from the high desert in Southern California, where Omar shared with us that his active listings for single family homes are down 56% from September of 2022 to this morning. They are down 56%. That is a crash in active listings. So, not to be outdone, I wanted to talk to Beth about her county, King County, up there in Seattle, and see what is going on in her neck of the woods, because maybe the high desert is unique and maybe other markets are not seeing it. So, Beth, what do you got? Welcome to the show. Thank you so much.
Hi there. So good to be back. Thank you, Mike. Good to be here with everybody. Yeah. So Omar and I, we are alike in that way that we've seen a similar drop in active inventory. We had 3,600 listings in King County, Washington, which is the greater Seattle area, in September of 22. And in March, as of the end of March, it was about 1,800 and change, and it's pretty much unchanged for now. It's only just barely below that for today. Been down where we're down maybe 20 listings today. So it's going down, not up, even from the end of March. So
when you look at this, and again, folks, we come back, Beth and I come back every week to talk to you. We went into November and December, it was really slow. We were seeing transactions crash significantly. Then we came out of it. January normally for you is your start of spring. It was kind of delayed. But now we're sitting at 50% less inventory. And oh, by the way, we're heading into the summer months, and heaven forbid, interest rates continue to fall. I don't know where we go from here. I mean, do you remember what your inventory bottomed at over the last couple of years?
there was a time last, hold on, I'm gonna look at my chart here. There was a time last year around January where we were at about 491 or something crazy like that. So
Okay.
that was before we went off. So last year it went down to almost close to zero as I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
And rates were at 3 something, and that was really fuel on the fire. And that's when it went, when we saw that crazy chart where it showed the list to price ratio at 112%, and the whole county across all price points, and even higher in some submarkets. And that's what fueled that. So that was the lowest I'd ever seen. And so we have gone, in January of this year, it was a little lower than it is now, but it wasn't quite that low. But we're not seeing the increase in our spring market that we normally see is just not there. And typically the seasonality in our Seattle area is that usually right around Easter or Mother's Day or somewhere in that window is when that rush would tend to start to taper off.
Okay.
And
yeah.
so it just never happened this year. I mean, the surge never happened. We never had anything to back off from. Right. So it's interesting to see what's going to be happening now that we didn't have the surge in inventory and to be absorbed. And so does that mean it's going to taper off? I am starting to see fewer listings coming on the market already.
Wow.
And I'm seeing another interesting statistic that I'm observing right now is our average days on market went from 20 down to 9 in 1 month.
No, it went down
half.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm seeing houses that were, so in my area on the east side, where we tend to be the most volatile, like the craziest upswing, the most dramatic correction. And now I'm seeing that we're starting to heat up a little bit more than maybe some of the areas too, where I'm seeing houses that would have been on the market for 30, 40, 50 days are now going off the market in 3 to 5 days. So that means the buyer's psychology, like the buyers are back for those few listings that are coming on the market and they're snatching them up. We're starting to see bidding wars. I know some places are seeing them a lot more than I'm seeing. Seattle proper is seeing more as far, because I track the list price to sale price to see what's going on. And, I am seeing some over there go 100,000 or so over, which is, believe it or not, mellow compared to what things were doing a year ago. It's not going 200, 300.
Right.
I'm glad we're not seeing that. And I don't think that's really gonna
I hope
happen
not.
much, but I do think that what I'm seeing right now is I'm not seeing price declines, but I'm not seeing the prices really surging either. So I'm thinking it's gonna remain pretty
Flat.
flat for the
Yeah.
short term duration at least. So
Yeah, and again, I think there's a couple of things going on in the economy. Obviously, Seattle probably more than the high desert. I don't think that's unreasonable. Has more of a tech base,
yeah,
right? The high desert is likely more services based, and there's a lot going on in tech, right? Amazon has announced some layoffs.
layoffs. Yeah.
Microsoft has earnings today. We'll see what they say. So
Mhm.
again, there's a lot of nervousness in tech. So there's probably just people sitting on their hands when they're nervous,
Yeah.
not buying or selling.
Mhm.
But it is wild for me to think about that. Your inventory is down 50% from 6 months
Mhm.
ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
At a
that's
time when it should be surging,
yeah,
it's
exactly. It should be
very
going up.
anemic. There's just nothing coming on, and we see it with our buyers, and like, it really does seem to be almost a locked up market where there's just the people aren't listing. There are still some buyers out there. The people that are buying and the people who are selling are people that have a urgent need to move that
Life
overpowers
event.
whatever uncertainty. Well, we might as well look for a better house because we kind of think we'd like something a little more fill in the blank. I'm not seeing as much of that. It's more, we have too many people in this too small of a space. We're driving each other crazy. We've been doing it for a while. We got to move, or my mom needs to move in with me. I'm getting a lot of that. Maybe it's just the age of the typical home buyer right now, as a lot of them have aging parents that need to be in the house or close. I'm seeing a lot of that. So, um, or just there's some specific reason why, and we can rattle through all the life change things that
Sure.
happen where somebody needs to go, death, divorce, somebody's born, somebody got married, all those things happening, it still happened. But I think the people that are kind of on the fence of like, well, we might like to, if the stars align just right, nah, not seeing too much of that right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And then the last thing kind of talk about here, topic number one, is the market vastly different, kind of what I'll call entry level versus what I'll call luxury being 2x the median? Are you or is everything just crazy hot? Because again, days on market of 9, that's pretty wild.
yeah, I'm seeing it pretty spread out. I guess if so, we're in my particular neck of the woods where the median's about 1.4, so the luxury would be about 2.8 and up. It is a little slower. I mean, it has definitely got to have the wow factor for those
Sure.
properties, and I have had some listings kind of around there that did take a little longer to sell. That's kind of always been the case, maybe a little more pronounced now, but it's always a smaller buyer pool with those, and especially when you get into the super luxury, those often will stay on the market for years sometimes, the ones that are very up there in the price point. But yeah, the first time home buyer homes are selling really fast. I'm seeing that has sped up a lot in the last several weeks. And I know we had one that came on that was right at that entry level, and a cash buyer came in and swooped it up immediately.
Wow.
Cash as is, so that's it. First time home buyers are going to be competing with that to a certain extent
Oh,
too, because
wow.
most first time home buyers don't have the cash. I'm going to say speed is your friend right now. If you're a first time home buyer, don't make rash, foolish decisions, of course, but do your homework so that when something good comes along that is going to be a fit for you, get out there immediately. Don't wait for the weekend or
Mhm.
some other thing.
You're not, you're not seeing people waive EMDs right now, are you?
No.
Thank goodness. That was reckless.
Yeah. I mean, they're not releasing them non-refundable to the seller. Like, no, I'm not seeing that. And I really was uncomfortable with that. And I
That's a
hope that
big
we don't
risk.
see that again. Far too risky. I am seeing people waive inspections. That's up to them if they want to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Not
people
what
are
I
waiving
would recommend.
inspections.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pretty wild. So again, the market does seem hot. A lot of it, again, what people don't realize, and I've been trying to help people realize, is we've seen the demand supply curve move down, and it's the supply curve that came down. So you don't need as much demand to make this thing get bonkers, right? It's just people need to
Yeah, and I think
understand it's a
that's the
wild market.
thing that can be, sorry, I mean to talk over you, that's the thing can be misleading sometimes is people they see all these headlines that would be driving demand down. And it just seems like, okay, well, we're waiting for the prices to drop. Where's those dropping prices? Like, if the supply isn't there, there's going to be people who are going to absorb that demand. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. And it's what you've been talking about, and we've been talking about here
Yeah.
for quite a while.
And then
It's
my biggest fear, Beth, this is a legitimate fear of mine. We see mortgage rates over the next 2 or 3 months go sub 6%. Can you imagine the marginal demand that's initiated because of that?
yeah, bidding wars. It'll be just all bidding wars again, I think.
Wild to think about.
Mhm.
Beth, if somebody wanted to buy or sell, or better yet, get a referral from a top 1% agent, how would they reach out?
Yeah, so I've been connecting with quite a few people from One Rental at a Time community every week, and I love getting to know everybody. So thank you for making that possible. And so if anybody wants to reach out to me, the best way to do it is through my website, bethtraversogroup.com, or just Google me and find me. I'm also in the Facebook group for the One Rental at a Time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Beth.
Thanks.